All right, I'm going to show you how to dry fit all of the pieces of your lamp together. I have all of my pieces. I should have 8 frame pieces and 4 square dowels. I'm going to start with about 8 pieces of tape and 2 rubber bands. And you'll see how I'm going to use these in just a second. I'm going to move my stuff here out of the way. I'm going to put these end to end. I'll put a little bit of tape there to help hold it together. I need a little extra space here. Move that down. I'll put another piece of tape on this one, just to hold those ends together. You'll see in a second how those fit together. And then the last one, so they're all in a line. And then if I flip it down, connect that one back up there, and I fold these into a square, the tape is going to help hold those together as I insert the square dowel. So notice the position of the square dowel and how the connector part goes towards the inside of the lamp. And the tape is going to help hold those pieces in place. You can also ask a friend to help you hold the pieces, because this part can get frustrating and sometimes it's nice to have an extra set of hands. All right, I'll work my way around the lamp, being very patient. Sometimes it falls apart, you have to try it again, making sure that the connecting parts on the square dowels are towards the inside. All right, I'm gonna push that tape back on. All right, now that it's loosely fit like that, I'm gonna take a rubber band here. Let me probably stretch it out a little bit, make sure that it's, there we go, loosen it up a little bit. This is another spot where having someone help you do this can make it less frustrating. As you see, the lamp's moving around on me. I'll stretch it out a little bit more, and sometimes it pops open. This might have been easier to do if I flipped it around and did it from the other side, but here I got it. I'm going to put that around the frame parts, and it should hold it nice and tight. And now that that's assembled, the next frame will be easier to put on. Alright, let me move that so I can see it under the camera. There you are. Alright, so those pieces will fit along there. Push those in. They might be kind of tight, which is good. That means that your joints will be tight once you glue this together. And then I'll continue working around. Yeah. Might help to put a little piece of tape on the corner there. I'll work that in patiently, making sure I don't get frustrated and start pulling it apart too much. And I'll put a little last piece in there. And then once that's fit together, I can stretch out the rubber band and put it around carefully. This is easier when you have someone helping you. All right, there we have it all dry fit together. Now it's time to inspect this a little bit. We're going to look at the joints right at the corners to see if there's any space anywhere, how well these all fit together. You can push them together, and if there's any problem spots, we're going to mark it and take a look at how it might be fixed. All right, so now I'm going to do a little inspection on how well these miters are coming together and see if any of them need to be fixed. So just taking a look at this side, if I give it a little more pressure, each side I want to look at all 4 corners at the same time and see if there's any gaps. And this side looks good. Let's take a look at the other side. So this one, if you look closely, this one is good. There's no gap. This one is good. This one is good. But when I push those 3 together, you can see that this one here, there's a gap. So I'm going to need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label these 2 joints. I'll just put like the number 1 on here. Now if you had another joint that needed fixing, you could give it a number 2, and notice that I label it on each piece because these two are going to come together when I reassemble this. So I'm also going to mark the square dowel with the number 1 on these two sides, just so I know that these 3 pieces come together at this joint and that this is the one that I need to do some fixing on. Because it could be one of these frame pieces, or it could be the square dowel dados that need to be fixed, or it could be a combination of all of them. So the next thing I'm going to do is disassemble just this top frame and take a look at what's going on underneath. Alright, as you can see here, I disassembled part of the lamp. I'm taking those 2 pieces out that I marked with the number 1, and also the square dowel that I marked, and I marked this side here. So that's the joint that I want to look at here. I'm going to reassemble this in just a second. We'll take a look at what might be causing the problem. Alright, so I'm going to take just this joint and reassemble it one piece at a time and take a look at what's going on the inside. So notice I have the number 1 here. I put a number 1 here because this was on top. So this piece fits in like this. That's how I had it before. Now I'm going to take a close look here. A couple of things that we notice. This right here, there's enough space here, so it's not that this thickness here is too much. If this was too much, it would be pushing on this and pushing this joint apart. So it doesn't look like this is the problem, because there's space here and this thickness also seems like it fits in here. So I think these two are good. If it was short, then I might need to recut this on the dado to make sure that I cut all of the square out, or I might need to go back and cut this, but I can see that this is halfway or less. So this one's good. So I'm going to set this one down. I'm going to take the other one that I marked and push that one in and take a look at what's going on here up close. All right. Oh, I can see the problem if you look real closely. Right here, this is a little bit too thick between here and here. Now, 2 things could cause this. It could be that this dado wasn't cut enough. So I would take this back to the table saw and set it up and run this through. It could be that I didn't hold this down enough on the table saw when I cut, and this needs to be cut way more up on the top part. Or it could be that this distance here isn't cut enough, so I need to take this back to the table saw and set it up with the jig to cut this out more so that this is fitting together and there isn't this spot there. Oh, I have it there. So after I make those cuts, I can put this one back together and then I can check it. So then it should fit together. I'm gonna go make those fixes and then check it again. All right, here I am at the table saw. Remember that this is what I was gonna fix here. So I'm gonna mark these pieces. I'll put an X on these, show that these are the ones that I wanna try to fix. Because the other one here, this one fit in just fine, so I wanna keep track of these. So using a pencil and putting a mark where it is that I need to take some more material away is gonna help. So you notice I did draw that on these to show that I'm gonna try to reduce this thickness down by running this through and making sure I'm holding it all the way down. And I'm gonna do this rabbet again. I'll start with that one and check this to see if it fits. And if that doesn't work, then I'll set up the fence and do this one again, and then I'll check it. So it's the one with the X on it that I marked. So that's the one that's gonna go into the blade. So just like before, I'm gonna put it in and make sure this is all the way down and that I'm holding this tight. Alright, so I made that cut and I find the one that I put an X on, and I put it back together the same way, and it looks like that did the trick. Now there's enough space there. So I'm going to put it together with the other piece, make sure that the numbers are lined up the right way. And then you can see here that is a tight fit now. Now if that didn't fix it, then I would need to try to reduce this one down. So I would go set the fence on the table saw and then put this in exactly in the same spot I had it before. Make sure I hold it down tight and redo these cuts. And then I would check it again. So you need to do that for every one of your joints that doesn't fit together nicely.